and places of worship are still closed. Pastor, can you put that into sort of biblical context? I mean, we had this question before, and I mean, and they're still closed.
Actually, we just had a meeting this morning discussing the ability to open for congregations smaller in our organization than 100 people, with social distancing and microband and
More
all the
services.
INIs, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah, predominantly because we've had a chance to get them,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. But I will say this. Um, I will say this. Something we were working on is the fact that we always believe God wants to get us back to Eden. Donald Lawrence had a whole freaking album about it. And one of the concepts was we went from a face-to-face encounter with God to an in-home stone altar with sacrifice, in-home worship center. Then we changed to stone altar and sacrifices, and then we turned into public ecclesia church worship. The idea is that we'll reclimb that V to get back to God. We'll go back to altar sacrifices and endowments. We'll take the next step up and get back to a home worship center, and then we'll get back to a face-to-face encounter with God. If we are following the Western theological opinion, this is very common. And so, in a sense, it seems very real, man. Your grandmama used to say, you can't get, you can't have nobody's, you can't live off of my faith, you gotta get your own. And I think right now it's more prevalent than it's ever been before, that people really got to study to just keep themselves grounded, myself included. I found myself so busy serving the community that at a minute I was like, man, what the heck, what's the purpose of life? Like I just had like a come to Jesus moment, when you're dealing with
I think everybody did. But go ahead, bro. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with so
Before
much
COVID.
death,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with
Yeah.
hustle, when you're dealing with all those different
Uh-huh.
layers and stages, you
Mm-hmm.
get to a moment, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I bought the
Mm-hmm.
house, I graduated college, I make this amount of money. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I know when I get married and have children that it'll have a different, a declension for me that I'll be occupied with, but it won't
Want me to tell
solve
you
the
the
problem.
purpose? Want me to tell you the purpose? The purpose is to uplift your people. The
Exactly.
purpose is to make people better.
So now
That's
it's
it
the
for
time
life.
for the legacy. Now it's time for setting up things of that nature. And the crazy part is I'm having this crossroads at 32. This is usually something that people hit at a midlife crisis. This is usually something that people hit sooner. But I feel like COVID has accelerated some of our
Correct.
self-discovery because there was no more distraction.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't go to the
Facts.
gym. You can't go hoop. You can't cuss out the dude that you crossed over last week.
You can't
or
even
dunk
watch
on
the
him.
news because Donald Trump was all over it. You couldn't even watch the news because it
You
was
didn't want
all
to watch the
Donald Trump.
news because it felt like
Yeah.
a slow soap opera.
Yeah. There was no sports.
Or it's
Sports
flat out
stopped.
depressing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You done
Yeah.
been with your old lady all day. It ain't fun to see her no more. She
Yeah.
looked, it's just a lot of things. It started to percolate. Now your kids get on your nerve. They the greatest part of your
No
day.
comment, Shep.
They are the greatest.
We live.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They are the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Consumer of your attention when you still got to provide. And so it's a lot of stuff, man. And it's giving us a come to Jesus. Well, I'm sorry, come to Yeshua meeting. I got you back. Meeting a whole lot sooner than a lot of us would like to acknowledge. And so
Yes.
it's been something else, man. That's all I got to say from my perspective.
Appreciate that. We're gonna move to the next question. It's on the greater data on the vaccine's effectiveness, and I mean specifically, if you guys had to choose, and this is for the MDs, Moderna versus Pfizer.
First available.
First one in my right, exactly. First one I can get.
So is it the same tech?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.